What is going on, everyone? We are back here with Trey Cash in MLB 17, looking to start a new road to the show. Now, last year we played as a power-hitting first baseman. We're going to try something a little bit different this year. We're going to go with a shortstop this year. And as far as the player type, I'm looking for Trey to do a little bit of everything. We're looking for that 5-tool superstar, so shortstop, right-handed throwing, switch hitting as well, just to add an extra little wrinkle to Trey's game. But with the 5 flex points, I'm going to even out all 5 of the tools, and hopefully we can continue to grow each of them evenly and eventually turn Trey into one of the better players in the entire major leagues.
After an anxious wait, a player is called to put his plate skills on display. Scout Day coaches do what they can to ground and focus the player for a stock-defining moment.
So as we start here, you immediately see the new wrinkle they've added to Road to the Show this year, making it a little bit more RPG-like. Although I don't know how I feel about the voice they're using. Sounds more like a documentary and actually sounds a lot like somebody talking about wildebeest on the Discovery Channel.
A fielding coach preps the player to showcase his defensive skills. This will be the last chance the player has to make an impression on this day.
And probably pointing that out maybe has ruined it for you, but immediately when I heard that, that was not what I was expecting when I heard that they had added this to Road to the Show. But either way, I like that they're adding things to this. Road to the Show has been pretty static for a few years, but as we get into what Trey's actually doing on the field here, the hitting went okay. The fielding is going much better as you see our draft stock continuing to rise here, and this will actually be the last double play we turn, and that is going to be it for the scouting we do today.
When it's over, some scouts come down to make personal contact with a player of interest. This is a marketplace, and though the day's action is over, product inspection and analysis continue.
Now, I know these decisions affect your Road to the Show, so I'm going to be a little bit cautious to start. I'm going to try and answer these in the nicest way possible. So, as you can see here, we're just going to say thank you, I do believe, and kind of go with that. So you can see after the initial scouting here, we're looking pretty good on fielding. The contact and power, still everything is above our current. The scout is above our current, which hopefully we can build on that, though, because hopefully we can get Trey into that top part of the first round. But not a bad day for this first go-around. Now we're going to be playing a couple games here to try and get ready for the draft.
A promising young baseball talent receives a call from his former high school coach, who has assumed an advisory role until the player sees fit to take on a sports agent.
Now, this looks a lot like the 2K My Career series and how they did that, but man, I cannot get over this voice. So here we got our advisor, and for this one, I'm going to try and poke a little bit and see what else we can find out here, as we'll eventually land on, I wonder how many clubs are going to be interested.
In the aftermath of a scout day, players are anxious to learn what impact their performance may have made.
So that response is going to be, I guess we'll see. Your scouting report will be released shortly, but this is an easy one. We're just going to play it cool.
But wisdom would suggest a young athlete focus on what is ahead, what is in his control.
And now it's going to be just stay focused, of course. Speaking of, are you still up for the? So interesting, they give the option to skip the showcase games, but I want to play them. We got to get used to this game a little bit more. Haven't played it too much, so we're going to play these games. Now, before we get into them, with the loyalty rewards for coming back to MLB, we got a couple of useful things here. A glove that's going to help out, some shin pads. I don't know if that actually helps us at all in terms of playing shortstop. And then we have a ritual that's going to help our fielding, acceleration, and stealing, which is very, very good. And then we have 500 points to use to start out. I'm going to put all of those, as much as I can, into contact on both sides. You can see we're pretty average as it stands, mid-30s for all this, but we're going to try and get the contact to power up as fast as we can. So I will put, I think, 3 of each into contact, a couple into power, and then the rest we will use for arm strength, and I think fielding if we have enough. Yes, we are going to have 2 extra points there. We'll pump all that in. That's going to move us up to a 55, plus 3 gives us an overall of 58, which isn't too bad. But now let's get into these games. So showcase game number 1. I believe there are 2 showcase games. We'll see how we do. Hopefully we do well and we don't hurt our stock. That is an interesting little thing to give the option for us here. First at bat, we are going to stroke when they're out to left field, poking that through the shortstop and the third baseman to pick up our first hit. But interesting to give the option, because if you do well enough in the little scouting to start with, you could just skip all this to try and avoid hurting your draft stock, although getting that first hit, that's going to help us out to start. But here we are going to ground into the double play. Yes, just barely miss out beating that one. So we go down in our second at-bat, 1 for 2 here. We're going to come up again, as this is going to be the 6th inning. Man on second, 1 out, an opportunity for an RBI here if we can put one in the outfield, as we'll watch that ball come through. So a 3-2 count here. Got to have a good eye. Hardest thing getting back into an MLB game is trying to get used to that strike zone, finding the strike zone, timing your hitting. As this one, not bad hit, but I can feel that was not a very well hit ball, and of course that is going to be an easy catch for the left fielder to make, and we can't even move the runner over. So coming up again here, 1 for 3 now, just that one single in the second inning, bottom of the 8th, man on first, the 3-2 game. In this one we hit okay, it's not well hit, but we did have the line. Almost could have made it past that first baseman, but that's going to end. So we go 1 for 4, we get a single, and that is it. So not a great performance, but let's see what happens now.
As the draft nears and teams begin to identify prospects they may target, a game of dreams also becomes a game of dollars.
So let's see if they give us any feedback as far as what we did here. So some questions came up about money and stuff, which we're not really worried about right now. We'll save that for after the draft.
A ball player must keep the game in his heart, but his mind on the game, or he won't be a ball player long.
And here we get the option of whether or not to play the second showcase game. We didn't play well in the first one, so we might as well play the second one and try and improve our draft stock. So just one hit in that first game. Coming back here, looking for a little bit better showing, as here in this first at-bat, 1-2 count, and we are going to get tricked by that high fastball. So we strike out on our first at-bat, now top of the 4th. In the field, we'll make this easy play, throw to first, and we'll at least pick up some points there from the throw out. Now up again here after that strikeout, looking for that first hit. 1-1 game, bottom of the 5th, and an 0-1 count. Trey is going to rip this one down the line, and that should be at least 2. An easy 2 as the throw going to come, but not even going to try and get it there, as Trey will just walk into second, picking up his first extra base hit. So 1 for 2 as we come back. The average now at 333, much better. Bottom of the 7th now, still a 1-1 game. And here Trey going to find this one. Puts a nice connection to it, but not quite solid enough, as that is going to be caught by the shortstop. So back in the field, continue to make the plays. Trey going to turn 2. And no, we can't get the double play. We do get the runner out at second, though. So coming back up for another at-bat here, 1 for 3 so far. 2-2 game now, man on second, bottom of the 9th. We have a chance to end this one. It's so close to hitting that one down that left, that third base line once again, but we are going to miss. And then the high fastball gets us again, as we will strike out. So 1 for 4 now into extra innings. Second and third now, again a chance to end the game, but we are going to get a little bit too swing happy there, as not waiting for our pitch, and we go down again. So 1 for 5 now, back up again. It's now the 14th inning, another opportunity to win the game, as we have no one out, a man on third. All we need to do here is try and get a ball out to the outfield to get this down to a 1-run game, as it's a 4-2 2-run deficit. But Trey here again going to line out to the shortstop, and this is going to end another disappointing day for us. 1 for 6 in that one, and we got to wonder what kind of damage we've done to our draft stock with these 2 showcase games.
Showcases and scouting activities having wrapped up, all attention turns to the imminent main event, the MLB Draft.
And here I'm going to mention the agent, because our advisor honestly doesn't know much about pro baseball, so we definitely need to get all the help we can get.
Players will now find themselves increasingly confronted with the off-the-field demands and distractions that accompany pro sports.
And he doesn't seem upset about it at all, so we're going to follow through with that, give the name, and see what this guy's all about.
Having a trusted advisor to take the lead on such matters is a huge plus, allowing a player to keep his mind where it should be, like on finding out where will be the first stop on his road to the show.
And looks like this will be it before the draft. This is a weird question to ask. I'm not really sure what questions like these make a difference. But you know what? We're going to spend it with our family. Just keep it low-key and see where we end up. Now in the draft, I'm not wasting any time. I just fast forward to the picks, and we are going to end up being drafted 15th in the first round, the Kansas City Royals. And actually, I'm surprised we went that early. I thought our performance in the showcase games was awful, but hey, a top 15 pick, I'll take it.
The awaited moment arrives.
Now, the Royals wouldn't necessarily be my first pick, so I'm going to start this out a little bit hesitant because I'm not really sure what it's going to give us in terms of options of what we can do, but I'm not going to be too upset if we have to end up playing for the Royals. That's a good team to start out in. But I'm just going to go with it sounds good here for this one.
Many players will forever remember every detail of this conversation and moment.
So that choice is going to bring this up. So it looks like the manager kind of assuming we're going to be playing there. So, let's just say thank you, and then we'll see what else comes up here, as I think technically we would have the option still to go back to school. But you know what? Let's not waste that time. We're just going to work hard, and we can't wait to start.
In the days and weeks that follow, teams work to come to terms with the players they have drafted and get them signed.
So it looks like they're probably not going to be showing us the actual numbers here, but I'm going to ask, just to see if we get anything more beyond this. I'm not really sure if this makes any play, as actually here it is going to give us the option of playing in college, which I'm going to bring that up. Still a little hesitant, kind of seeing, what this is going to do, whether we need to go back or not, but doesn't really give us any more information, so you know what, we're just going to call it good. I'm going to ask one more time about college, but it looks like we're probably going to be headed to the Royals.
A player unsure about signing at all might consider getting an education while working on his game and rolling the dice again in a future draft.
And I don't know, considering how poorly we played in the showcase, whether that would be a good idea to go back. So, you know what? I ultimately thought about it for a little bit, but you know what? Ultimately, let's just get into it. Let's start playing. So we are going to be ready to go. We are ready to go pro.
In most cases, rookie contracts get done in a fairly straightforward manner. And with that, players and organizations alike are happy to have their team and get the season underway.
And with that, a slightly unnecessary only single option to sign with the Royals. We have signed with the Royals. We start out in AA, and we will be playing our first games to begin the next episode. Looks like they've changed up the style of the Road to the Show menus this year. We'll take a dive through everything, upgrade our player as much as we can before we play that first game, but otherwise, next time we start Trey's Road to the Show AA. We'll see how long it takes us to get up to the next level. I don't believe the Royals have very strong depth at shortstop, so shouldn't take us long to get up to AAA. Maybe a little bit more to get to the MLB, because I think El City's Escobar is still there. But you know what? We're going to work our hardest and try to get up there as quick as we can as Trey starts this Road to the Show. So that's going to be it for this first episode. If you enjoyed it, please go to give it a like. I'd really appreciate it. And subscribe to see any future videos that I make. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.